Gear Showcase. In my POB notes, I added all my trade logs for these gears and I also added their trade links. In total, all these gears costed me 182 Exalted Orbs. Pure Physical Quarterstaff and Pure Evasion Body Armor is required for this build. Be sure to buy a +2 to melee skills amulet with resistances as weighted sum. Need 2 unset rings for 2 extra skill slots. The helmet, gloves, and boots will be pure energy shield. Next, the jewels. The optimal jewel modifiers in this budget constraint are the following: attack damage, elemental damage, damage with quarterstaff, damage against rare or uniques. In total, it costed me 50 Exalted Orbs for the jewels. Let's test some maps. I will run maps with more monster life to check the boss damage as well. At the end, I will also run a Tier 0 Breachstone. 125% more monster life. This is good for testing. Level 81 Zone 2 means this is a Tier 17 map. By the way, the rest of the build cost is for the uncut gems, gem cutter prisms, lesser jeweler orbs and greater jeweler orbs. The build only has 2 skills with 4 sockets. In total, the skills costed me 79 Exalted Orbs. I also added their price list in the POB notes. Overall, the entire build costed me 303 Exalted Orbs. At the time of trading, the ratio is 316 Exalted Orbs equals 1 Divine Orb. Here's a breach. Let's see how this goes.
Vanquished.
Did you see that? I didn't attack there, but my Wind Dancer nuked the entire screen. Wind Dancer has another passive which trigger an attack damage when you get hit, and it can also trigger the heralds. Let's test it again. I will not attack and get surrounded on purpose. Let's find the boss now. I don't care about the loot anymore unless it's a Divine Orb or Mirror of Calandra. I'm pretty much done with the game. I'm just doing some fun little projects. This is another way to have fun in Path of Exile. I'm just gonna skip the video to the boss room. Here it is. 4 bosses. Disable Grim Feast and Mana Remnants. Enable Cast on Shock. Also move Conduction to charge staff to help proc the cast on Shock. Remember, this map have 125% more monster life. Means all the mobs and boss have more than double life. This is maximum difficulty, by the way. Not bad boss damage at all for a 1 divine budget. I'm done here. Let's open another map. Maya, the best map in the game. Not even close. Also, when you play a build that needs switching gems over, do not forget to put the gems back. 109% more monster life. Not bad for testing. Let's just skip the video to the boss room. This bosses have less HP because the previous run was a T17 map. Next map I'm going to show and explain something. 127% more monster life. Very good for testing. Here's a breach. I want you to pay attention here. Did you see that? We received like 5 or 6 hits and almost died. But we still survived. Just goes to show how tanky this build is even at this budget. The reason this build is so tanky is because of Wind Dancer and Ghost Dance combo. Example, when you get hit for 500 damage after resistances, Ghost Dance will make you recover like around 200 energy shield, so the final calculation is that you only received 300 damage. That's a huge amount of damage reduction. Ghost Dance scales with total evasion, so with Wind Dancer we're making Ghost Dance more effective. Let's skip to the boss room. Again, this boss have 127% more monster life at maximum difficulty. Now, let's do a tier 0 breachstone and test the build on Xesht. I just skipped to the boss since the video is getting kinda long. Let's do this. It's the first time I'm doing Xesht on this budget build.
We in nightmare. We that are one. We are fury.
That was easier than I expected. This boss kill felt easier than the map bosses earlier with 100% more monster life. It actually dropped a Hoa. Let's Omen of Corruption this for some 100 divine goodness.
What is it?
Only got second socket, unlucky. Lastly, the passive tree. You only need the first and second ascendancy in this build. The final points are just some damage buffs. Lead Me Through Gaze is required for the build to synergize with pure evasion body armor. It's because of this busted interaction that this entire build work with so many spirit gems. The second ascendancy requirement for the build is Sunder My Enemies. We don't have penetrate or exposure in the build. Instead, we are relying on some critical hits to ignore enemies' resistances. In the passive tree, Heavy Frost is also required so that when the enemies are frozen all our hits also ignore their resistances. Finally, Subterfuge Mask, Spectral Ward, Resonance, Chaos Inoculation, and Eternal Youth are also required. If you are lower level, be sure to take all the required nodes for the build to work. That's it, thank you for watching. I didn't explain everything, but I will try to answer below if you happen to leave a comment. Don't forget to check the POB.